Something that I find really interesting is myself and thousands of others give out a tremendous amount of value to people on shows just like this, different podcasts, etc. Yet so many people don't implement the actual strategies. I've never understood why, but it's just interesting to me. And so whenever I'm doing my talks now, one of the things I like to say is, of the 100 people of you in the crowd, 2 of you will actually do what we're saying to do. For example, I was giving a talk to a bunch of high school students who were about to graduate about a month ago. And one of the things, I was telling all these kids to build up their personal brands, go buy their domains, whatever their name is, .com, and to build a website around the content that they love. And of the 30 or so kids that were in the room, one person said he was going to do it. Everyone else was worried about in the moment, not the future. It's about the long game, folks. So here's something interesting. Now, you don't have to implement everything that we say, obviously, but, it might help you a little bit. So, you guys know that I wrote a book, Anomaly, How to Finally Stand Out from the Crowd. And I'm thinking of different ways to get it out there. Obviously, I want to sell 15,000 copies. And one way, now this really has nothing to do with sales from the book, but sales at a later time. And so I was on the phone with my mom a few weeks ago, and she goes, "Oh, are you going to give all the people that you want to become clients your book?" And I was like, how come I didn't think about that? So then I was at a local business, or a big business that has a presence in my area, Norfolk, Virginia, called ADP, who does a bunch of the payroll stuff. And they were giving me a tour, and I was just meeting with them, just to meet with them to see how things were going. They are going to be doing like 2,000 or 3,000 jobs, so obviously a lot of people there, a lot of people that you can help. If you're trying to sell 15,000 copies, you can sell 2,000 of them in one building. Maybe. I don't know. So anyway, I see a bunch of this book, right, The Blue Ocean Strategy, which I've actually at least read in some capacity, I believe on my Kindle a few years ago. Look, it's nice. It has words, whatever. Right? So I see like 5 of these books sitting on the desk. And I was like, that's really interesting. I go, "Oh, is that like a favorite book of yours?" And they go, "Oh, do you want one?" I said, "Sure." And then I asked simply, "Oh, is this a strategy that you guys use to get in the door for clients that you want?" And the answer, of course, was yes. And so, taking what my mom said, then with the ADP thing, I said, "No, there's definitely something here." So then if you think about it, what is your customer worth? Let's say your customer is worth $5,000 lifetime, okay? And you're trying to stand out and be different. If everyone else is posting something on social media, everyone else is cold calling, everyone else is doing something that isn't necessarily converting, would you be willing to spend a couple of bucks and buy a book for that person to get into the door? Because I think that's a pretty interesting thing. So I don't know what they paid for this book. It says it $32. They probably didn't pay $32 for the book. But here's what's interesting. Think about the books that you have. So obviously I have written a book now. I will be able to actually give that book to others, and I'll use that as my lead-in. But sometimes it could be just a different book that could be good for you to give out, right? Martin Joseph, good friend, he wrote this book. He has an IT business, 360 IT. He uses this as his in. It's the same strategy that I'm going to do with Anomaly. He wants to get IT services. He wants to take his IT services and put them in other businesses. And so he does it by saying, "Hello, oh, and let me just give you this book. It's called What Every Business Owner Must Know About Choosing an Honest, Competent, Responsible Computer Guy." And then Superman on there. How smart is that? Right? So not everyone has a book. I get it. But how can you use the exact same strategy to get in front of people? Right? Again, let's say that the lifetime value of a customer is $5,000, okay? If it's not $5,000 for you, for whatever it is, just figure out what it is. Okay, let's just say it's $5,000. I bet for every customer that Martin Joseph has, it's far more than $5,000, by the way. All right, so the idea is that you're trying to stand out and be different. When everyone else is just knocking on the door saying hello, or like, "I'm annoying," whatever, those strategies are great and awesome, but sometimes you have to do a little bit more to be seen. So what if you went through the books that you have? So I literally just went through some of my books on my bookshelf. Not this one, because that's new, I guess. But I went through and I picked these ones. And I was like, oh, okay, these are books that I have either read or are friends of mine, and I could use I guess actually I have read all these. But these are books that I could go, and whether or not I want to keep them anymore, or if I want to buy another version or another copy of them for someone else. But let's say this. I could go and I could take these 4 books right now. Okay? And then I could walk into someone's office with a handwritten card, walk in, ask for that person, right? Leave a little handwritten card, boom, slide it in here. And if the person isn't there, you could just hand it to the secretary, whoever, and just say, hey, can you please give this to so-and-so? If they are there, say, hey, it's Zack Miller. Hope you're doing well. I wrote this book about anomaly. I thought it'd be a great fit for you to be listening to over whenever, or on your weekends, at nights, whatever. And I just want to give you a copy, have a handwritten card in there. I said, read it, enjoy it. It's free. It's on the house. You just saved, $4 million by not having to pay for it. No, my book's not $4 million. And if you like what you hear, would love to get coffee or something at a later time. Goes pretty deep. Now, in the case that it's a book that you didn't write, you could just be like, hey, I really like this book. Actually, do really like this book, RussellBrunson.com Secrets. It's the first book I ever bought for someone else. It's actually the only book I've ever bought for someone else. So Russell, thank you for that. I just thought it was a good book. And you know what's cool? This publisher is the same as mine. So hopefully his results will be very similar to mine. Morgan James, right there on the spine. Excited about that. So if you have books on your bookshelf that you're not reading and they're just there, and you don't want to spend the money for other people, maybe you could just take the book, handwritten card, and say, hey, so-and-so, I want to let you know that I love this book, and I just want to learn more about you, or I just want to help you out, whatever. And I thought that by giving this book, it could be a good way for you to learn about this topic as well. Enjoy it. It's on the house. Would love for you to check it out. And when you're done, give me a ring. Would love to get coffee, lunch, whatever, and figure out if we could be friends. See, that's a little different. So you could do it where you've already spent the money. You could spend money again, right? If you buy books in bulk, maybe you could call them. Let's say you buy 100 books from someone. Maybe you can buy them in bulk, get a little bit of a discount. It's just a different way to stand out. Now, again, what did I start this with? How many people listen to content all the time and never do anything with it? They just consume it. To me, if you're going to consume something, you should act on it, right? I learned this from Ramit Sethi, who I was going to pull out his book, but I didn't. It's a finance book called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Very good book. A lot of takeaways, great stuff, easy to implement. He said something like, every book that you read, it's $15 to $30 roughly. If you get one nugget of information out of that, that should be it. Would you be willing to get $15 to $30 worth of millions of dollars of value? If you get millions of dollars of value for $15, was that worth it? I mean, think about that point. Think about if there's one thing, if you read Anomaly, and by the way, I guess I've started to announce this. I will start getting copies in October. Ebook goes out January 1. Physical in stores April 2nd. So if you want the book earlier than later, you know where to go. There's a lot of copies. But let's say you get one nugget out of my book. Okay? It's right there in that $15 to $30 price range. If you get one nugget out of my book, and you read it, or you listen to it, and you can take that and make $1 million off of it, or even tens of thousands of dollars, was it worth it? I mean, to me, there are so many little nuggets in there that are gonna be just like that I think people are going to have dozens of those opportunities, hopefully hundreds of those opportunities. And I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see people actually get helped by it. And, that's one of the goals, right? I mean, 15,000 copies, I want to help 1 million people. I mean, I'd love to sell 1 million copies, but, 15,000 is the number that I want. So you have books lying around your house, likely. Heck, if you have an Audible book, you can go into your Audible account and send a book to someone for free. Just change up the messaging, get their phone number, email, whatever, and be like, hey, I want to give you this book. The strategy is super easy. It could literally cost you no money today if you use the books that are already on your bookshelf. Or it could cost you Jason's book, $28, Only Live Once. Martin's book, self-published, I guess. He's just going to give you that. Profit Hacking. I don't know how much this costs, $12, let's say, right? And then .com Secrets, This says $20, but I think you can buy it for $10. What if you really like this book and you give it to someone? I mean, think about the value that you could be creating to someone just by that book alone. But then you gave it to them. You're the anomaly because you're standing out. You're doing something different. Doesn't necessarily cost you a lot of money. And imagine the relationship that you get out of that by helping someone, giving them something where everyone else is just like, no. I mean, it's basically whining and dining, but for education. I'm educating with this book. And whether they read it or not, who cares? What really could be great is that it opens up the door where that door couldn't be opened before. And so I hope that you think about implementing a strategy like this. Hey, and if you want to buy Anomaly to be the book, I will greatly give you a discount to do that if you buy a bunch of them. 15,000 of them minimum, obviously. But really think about this, right? I mean, so I have books behind me. You can see right there, doom, doom. You know, I could literally go write a handwritten card to the people that I want to meet, and I could physically mail it to them. $3-4 to mail that. A card in there and be like, hey, just want to introduce myself. I'm Zack Miller. I really like this book, and I thought it might be good for you to have as well. So here's a copy. Would love to catch up for coffee. Could be your book. Hey, Zack Miller here. This is the book I wrote. There's a ton of strategies in here that I think could be good for you and help you with your business. Would love for you to read it. It's on the house. And let me know what you think. Let's get coffee. Let's get on a phone call. Whatever. So I'd like to thank my mom for that strategy, and to ADP for also backing that strategy and realizing that absolutely that's something that I was already considering, I guess, but not to the extent. It could be. I think this can be an ongoing thing, but also could be, for specific holidays. It could be like a birthday present, an anniversary present for them. Like, I'm actually going around to businesses now saying, hey, like, the holidays are coming up. Why don't you buy 200 books to give to your customers as a appreciation gift? Oh, that's an interesting idea. So that's it. Take these tips, implement them, because they do work. And as always, if you guys have questions, let me know. If you love what you are listening to, be sure to give it some love, share it, subscribe wherever you are listening. And I appreciate you. I thank you. And I look forward to continuing to help you as much as I can. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Later.